Hi, today we summarize the last two cranial nerves, the 11th and the 12th, which have in common the fact that they are both motor nerves, one for the movement of the head and neck, the other for the tongue. The accessory nerve, also called the spinal accessory nerve, is the 11th pair of cranial nerves and has a motor function. It controls the sternocleidomastoid and trapezius muscles. The spinal accessory nerve has two origins, one at the level of the medulla and the other at the level of the anterior horns of the cervical spinal cord. Its most important cranial exit point is the jugular foramen. The accessory nerve has two components. Spinal component. It originates from the cervical spinal cord, C1, C5, C6, and descends into the skull through the foramen magnum, reaching the spinal nucleus of the accessory nerve. It then exits the skull through the jugular foramen and forms the external branch, which innervates the trapezius and sternocleidomastoid muscles. Cranial component. It has fibers that come from the cerebral cortex and send signals to the nucleus ambiguus in the brainstem. The fibers of the nucleus ambiguus join the vagus nerve and the glossopharyngeal nerve, passing through the jugular foramen. Just outside the skull, the cranial component temporarily separates from the vagus and then rejoins it to innervate the muscles of the pharynx, larynx, and some muscles of the soft palate. The accessory nerve is the only cranial nerve that originates partly from the spinal cord, C1, C5, C6, instead of the brainstem. Some studies suggest that the cranial root of the 11th nerve actually belongs to the vagus nerve and that the true accessory nerve is only the spinal part. Its name, accessory, comes from the fact that its cranial component is closely connected to the vagus nerve, 10th cranial nerve, and in the past, it was thought to be only a branch of the vagus, thus accessory to it. The hypoglossal nerve is the 12th pair of cranial nerves and is a purely motor nerve. Its main function is to control the movement of the tongue, contributing to the actions necessary for speaking, swallowing, and chewing. It originates from the hypoglossal nucleus, located in the medulla, exits the skull through the hypoglossal canal in the occipital bone, and innervates both the extrinsic and intrinsic muscles of the tongue, except for the palatoglossus, which is innervated by the vagus nerve. It is the only cranial nerve entirely motor and dedicated to the tongue.